Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So based on the Instagram poll that I did a couple days ago, where I wanted to figure out if you guys wanted to see why I became a Christian video, or if you guys wanted to see Babe's birthday get ready with me, you guys voted for the when I become a Christian video. So here we go. Now I was thinking to actually do this, like give you guys a gist of what happened and then just tell you the reason why. But then I say, you know what, most of the persons, sorry, that watch my YouTube videos, they're gonna want to know like what really happened. So with that being said, let's get into this. Now I'm thinking it may have to do a more than one video because it is a ton that led up to this decision, and it is not an easy decision. It was not, well, it was an easy decision for me because of what happened, but I just want you guys to see like how the Lord worked, right, and how he works, because then you'll be able to see how he's working in your life. Now we always say, oh, use me, God, use me, especially when you become a Christian, like, Lord, use me, I'm an empty vessel, I'm a clay pot, use me, oh Lord, I am yours. And when times get tough and get hard, we always ready to like be angry with the Lord, like, why me, God, you know? So with that being said, I try my best to like tone it down when I go through a lot of hassle in life. No, I don't have any notes or anything to get into, like, you know, to guide me or whatever, so I'm gonna go just like off the top of my head. I may or may not forget one or two things. So let's get into this. Now I'm gonna tell you certain things and you'd be like, probably, why am I telling you these things? Because that has nothing to do, but every single thing I'm telling you leads up to that, and it's like a house you know we're gonna build. So before 2011, I had a great job. I had a wonderful job. My job was not necessarily my dream job, but the money was good. The people I worked with were great, and I had fun doing my job. I was going to school full time. This is at university. And no, this was at BCC and university, full time, and I was going to work full time. So you know, I was a busy bee. But in between there, we still found time to like party and hang and chill. And these are mostly persons that I worked with. So that kind of spoiled me when I had to like branch out in different jobs, because I'm so accustomed to like a unit being a family. So when I see persons like getting on, like gossiping and backbiting and stuff like that towards one another, I'm like, boo, are you kidding? You know, I did not come from a place like that. So anyways, long story short about that job, I became very comfortable, honestly, and I became very complacent, and I found that I didn't want to say, I don't want to say I took my job for granted, but newer management was less tolerant for the things that I was putting out. So eventually, I lost my job. Right? So all the while though, while I was there, I was getting a lot of dreams, and my mom and I are close, and very close. And when like I have dreams or whatever, especially ones I don't understand, I tell mom, and mommy will tell me, well, Asha, this is what it is. So I remember distinctively this one particular dream that I had. I was working at the same place before I got fired from it, and I saw two beings walking up the stairs of my workplace. One had on black and carried a umbrella, and one had on, no, I think one had on black and white, carried an umbrella, and the other one had on white, and I think they carried an umbrella too. So when I saw them like coming up these stairs, I was like confused as to who they are, because they clearly aren't guests. So I told mom about that dream, and mommy told me that, you know, the Lord is calling me. So I'm like, you know, whatever. You know, at that point in time, I was like in my early 20s, and like whatever, you know, you don't really think of things when you don't know, full stop. So anyways, after I got fired from that job, I went into another job, and at this other job, it took me probably like a couple of months to get into another job, and in between there, I was like living off of unemployment checks and so on, like really struggling through and trying to catch my bearings, and all the while still going to partying, girl, going to school. I don't know how it happened, but the Lord. So in this other job, this is when things about like got real sticky. So when looking back at it now, I lost that first job that I had. That was really good. I had a job for like 5 years, you know. And when looking back at it, that's like when the Lord like was like dusting my rug, like, yeah, Astra, things about to get happen, things about to get crazy if you do not come to me. And so I got into another job. This job was better paying. Like the staff weren't as good, to be quite honest, but it was nice. They still had like good staff in between there, you know. And my time was flexible. I was still going to school at this time. I believe at the time I was at, definitely I was at UE, which is university. And everything was good, you know. And then I had my boyfriend. I also met one of my ex-boyfriends there as well. I worked with him, right? I met him there. So before we get into like this second demonic activity, let's talk about the verse. So while I was at this place, this guy, like, I was living with a roommate, and I ran up the phone bill. So my rent included a lot of everything. Actually, my rent included like light, water, da da da. So I just paid one solid rent. So the water bill, no, the phone bill, I ran the phone bill, and I was real hesitant in paying the phone bill because it was like, I don't use the phone, so they could actually like take out the money from whatever, because I don't ever use the phone. So it was a big problem. And then I went to work, and one of my colleagues was talking to me, and then I started to let him know, well, about the phone bill or whatever. And he said, oh, so it is you that I had a dream about. So I'm like, what are you talking about? Mind you, him and I are not like real close. Like, we are just like colleagues. We weren't close or whatever. And he said that he had a dream, and in the dream he had his phone bill to pay, but he was confused as to why he has a phone bill to pay. And like, the Lord was telling him to pay this bill, and I'm like, and he was like, well, his phone bill doesn't have to pay. He confused. So he told me that, and I was like, okay, fine. So I went and paid, and I gave the money for the phone bill. Mind you, I ran the bill up like $100 more. It do. So I started to see like the hand of the Lord like really moving strong in my life at that point in time. And you guys know of, oh my gosh, what's the name of that? Like the lodge and stuff like that. All right, I believe he was also a part of the lodge. So like, I didn't like doubt him or anything like that. So because like I knew of God and stuff. So I'm not saying that who they believe is what we believe in or anything like that, but it's like, no matter who it is, the Lord has to use to get through to you, he will do it, right? The Lord is no respecter of man. So I paid the bill, and that was that. Now this is where things gonna start to get sticky, so brace yourself. All right, so it was close to Mother's Day. I think it was like 2012, 2013. I believe it was like 2012, 2013. Anyway, around there, close to Mother's Day. No, it had to be 2012. So, close to Mother's Day, we went by my gran, God rest her soul. And our family is a certain part of my family is like really close. And we gathered by my gran. We brought cakes over. There were drinks there, like, for Mother's Day. So we were pretty much celebrating Mother's Day. And that evening ran into night, and everybody was talking, laughing, like, you know, we would say skinny remote and like Beijing parlance and whatever. We were just having fun and thing. And then I realized like my aunt, my mom, and some of my sisters were in my grand's yard. So I had a drink in my hand, and I went into the yard, and I was like, why we're not out here? Like, what's going on, you know? And I was just standing up there listening to them, and they were talking about all types of different like things, like witchcraft and who was involved in witchcraft in my family, and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm not uncomfortable. I was not comfortable with it because it's not the first time like I was hearing about it. So then they were talking about who they saw like burning feathers over this thing and praying, like literally witchcraft. All right. And so I was like, geez, well, we got all this thing in our family, and one of our family is so messed up, you know. So So we were talking about all these different things that are in our family and who does what and what this person like sent up in prayers to who, whatever. And then my aunt started to talk about a dream she had. Brace yourself. So in this dream that she had, she said that her daughter was sitting in this chair, and when her daughter was sitting in this chair, this demonic being, like say the daughter was sitting in the chair, but the chair was against the wall, like at an angle like this, and the chair was like in between here, right, facing in here. Her daughter was sitting here, so there was a demonic oppression, a demonic being on top of the wall, like crab back in a sense, but the front was the front, and the hands and the legs were onto the wall. And she said that before we get to that, she said that in her dream she was standing at the top of her stairs, and she saw this handsome, like, words can't explain how handsome he was. She was saying he was so, like, his complexion was brown skin, he had nice curly hair, and she was like just saying how handsome he looked. And then like she was looking at him, and he was looking back at her from the bottom of the stairs, and she was like looking at him looking back at her. And then she started to feel like fright like well up in her, so she ran into the room and shut the door, and the oppression like came up the stairs quickly and pushed through the door. So they were like wrestling with the door. This is in her dream. And when they were wrestling with the door, like obviously the demonic oppression without prayer is gonna like supersede. So he pushed the door and he got in, and then he crawled back again up the wall, and her daughter was sitting in the corner in a chair, and he hovered over her daughter, who was my cousin, right? And then like he looking at her, she's looking at it and like trying to like shoo it or whatever from over her daughter. And then that's where hell broke loose. So while she was telling this dream, like I was just like listening. You know, we share dreams and stuff like that in our family. I was just like listening, and then all of a sudden my body was taken over. All happened was like I began to shriek, like making these low deep screams, like, and my whole body went limp, and it just like fell to the ground. The drink dropped out my hand, and I started to scream out really, like when I tell you really loud, really loud. And like I'm telling you, like neighbors, like persons from far away would have been able to hear me. You know, music could not have died out the volume that was coming out of my mouth, and it was deep, and therefore there was manifestation. So after the whole, I'm not skimming through it, right, but I'm just telling you as we go along. After the whole event that I'm going to tell you about now happened, my mom said that the person in the dream was not her daughter per se. It could have been me, because I look very much like my cousin, right? When we were growing up, they thought that we were twins. All right, so lip now was screaming forever, and then like my body went, I went boom. I wasn't like a hit down fast. It was like a more drop down kind of thing, because my body went so limp, and this I was just like shrieking and screaming, and it was these big loud ones like past in the ability for me to exhale, right? And like it was longer than like humanly possible, I would say. So I was like shrieking and screaming, and my sisters told me that they were really scared, because my sisters were out there. I think two of three of my sisters, I believe, were out there. So then they began to shut the louvers to the yard, and the door was already closed. So my aunt and my mom started to like lift me up, and then they started to pray over me, and they were asking me to renounce this and renounce that and tell the demon to leave. And that's me like, what? And I like, in between I could hear some things, and then the other times I don't know what's going on. All I could feel is my body going limp. So my mom is on one side and my aunt is on another side, and I'm forever shrilling and screaming. And it wasn't like a big shake or anything, and I was most like this and just screaming out, and my head was like this. And that time I could tell you it was a full moon, and I don't know if a full moon has anything to do with anything. I'm just telling you because that's what I was like looking at. That's what I could see, a full moon. And I was there like screaming out, and you know, my aunt and my mom were there, and they were like praying on me. And my aunt just was like taking her fist and pushing it into my stomach and praying and denouncing, and she praying and she renouncing, and she not denouncing, renouncing, and she just praying, and she telling me to say this, Astra say that, Astra say the next, Astra say the third. My body was not my body. I could not do anything. All I was coming out was these shrieks and these loud shrills, you know. And after about 10 minutes of going into this thing and going back, and you know, like they tried to let me go, and my body just went bum. They picked me back up, and I could hear my aunt say, "Take she up, get she up." Right, meaning like get me off the ground, like lift her up, take her up, and hold. Like there were one person was here on this hand, my mom was on one side, like I said, my aunt on the other, and my aunt just got into my stomach. Let me tell you, the next day my belly was in so much pain. I was like, Lord have mercy, suppose she to kill me, right? So I was like, damn, like, so after all of that, like when we were like getting to the end, like I was then able to like move my lips, and what she was telling me to say, I began to try to say, but it came out so weak. And it was like, I think she was saying to like say, Lord help, like Lord deliver me, or Lord take it away, or something like that. And it was trying the longest while, like 10 minutes in, and 1 minute is a long time, okay? So like 10 minutes in, we get into this thing, 15 minutes in, we get into this thing, and like probably like 20 minutes or so in, this is when like I had ability to speak. So like I head up to the sky, and I like focusing, and I just pray on the inside, Lord help me, because I had no control, nothing. And so eventually, like I said, my lips were able to move, and I started to like say this thing softly, and she's like shouting, "Say it loud in Jesus' name!" And she like, it was nothing quiet, all right? And she was just going in and praying, and my mom is backing her up, in the name of Jesus we call it out, we cancel it, and she going in and going in. All right, flimsy on me, because I am 20 pounds much heavier than I was then. So flimsy on me, just trying to get through this thing. And most of this time, I can tell you, I was conscious of what was going on, but I had no ability to do anything, right? So eventually I was then able to say what she wanted me to say, like renounce it and stuff. And I felt like extra weak this time. And then I like just exhaled and just went down. And my sisters told me, I only knew of one sister, because she told me like the next day or a couple days after, she told me this. But then only a couple months ago, my other sister told me, yeah, that she saw it too. So what happened when like I got like really weak and like denounced or whatever it was, like my head was up like this, and when I got like really weak, my sisters told me they saw like this white puff of smoke like start to come out of my mouth, and it came towards one of them, and she like shoo it away, like duck away from it. And then I asked her, well, where did it go? And she told me it just went along by a business. And I was like, okay. So I felt good, you know, that it came out and we were good. And so then things got way worse because I liked my life. So the job I had was paying great. Like, you know, I was getting like $3,000 sometimes a month, and we were going out wherever, could come home whenever, my rent was due whenever, and it was paying it good and stuff like that. At this point in time, living it up. And my boyfriend at the time, to me, he was perfect, like no issues. We would have like little quarrels and stuff like that in between. And like at that point in time, like he like lived with me in my apartment. And he told me a time that like I remember waking up, and I called him and said, why you didn't tell me that you got I remember waking up, right, and calling him, and I was like, how are you, da da da, nice cheerful me, normal me. And he was like, Astra, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, well, why wouldn't I be okay? And he's like, because you like get on real bad with me like not too long ago, just before I left. I was like, what are you talking about? So he said that when he got up, I like got up and I started to tell him that he's only using this person's death to get into my life, and he needs to get out of my life, da da da. And that's when I realized the demons were still there, or whoever, how many, whatever, were still there, because I was like, that's not true. I did not tell you this. And he's like, yes, Astrid, you told me this. And I was like, oh, I had to be sleeping. He was like, no, your eyes were wide open and you were looking at me. And I was like, I am so sorry, I don't know what you are talking about. All right. So with all that, I used to have like visitations. When I say visitations, I don't mean like I was okay, how do I explain it? I would have visitations in my dreams, but like in the natural, I will have visitations in the natural, and I wouldn't necessarily see them. I will feel their presence. You know, like how we have this instinct of like, you can have your eyes closed and you would know when somebody's in your room with you, or if somebody comes really close to you, because you can feel their presence, right? So same thing with the demonic oppressions. I'm so glad I don't go through that now, but anyways, we'll talk about another time. So during that time, I would have like visitations from them. Like my room would smell high of sulfur and stuff like that, and I would just start to denounce them and stuff like that, you know, because I just went through this whole big thing. So I guess when you say this and you say that, I would just leave, and they usually go, and like they would smell so strong. My room would smell so strong of sulfur. All right. So then I don't recall there being like any other major things that happened at that point in time, but we are past 20 minutes in this, and that is where we're going to end off for today. I hope it's not too scary for you all, and I am not making up anything here. There is a lot more to come, because as I said, I went back into the world and I did whatever I did. And if you're a Christian, you know that if you clean your house, you go back and muddy it up, they're gonna come 7 times 7 with demons. And yeah, and therefore I just went back in the world not knowing this. All right. Oh, and I went through deliverance after that again, but nothing happened. But that's a whole nother thing. So right, I don't want to prolong this too much, but there's a lot, and this is what has led up to the reason why I became a Christian, or how I became a Christian. Not necessarily why, because there's no like, because this happened I was scared and I went into Christianity. As you guys just heard, I still went back into the world, you know, because like it was so good. And I tell people all the time, don't ever tell nobody that as a Christian that, oh, the world don't have nothing for you, the world ain't sweet. It has nothing for you, yes, but if you like limes, the devil's gonna make the world so tasty, so acid, so perfectly limey for you to come back into the world. All right, so I went back into the world. I continued doing promotions because I was a promotion girl. You know, I did Lime promotions. I did Heineken promotions. I did Hennessy. Yeah, Hennessy promotions. It was a Hennessy? Yeah, Hennessy promotions. And like, if I wanted to go out, I would go. And like sometimes I will not have to pay because my friends are the persons who usually host these events, or if I do pay, I pay, but most of the time it's either my friends already like hosting events, so I would just get through, or I am actually working at the event anyway, so I don't really have to pay. Majority of times, in fact, I'm working at the event anyway, so I don't have to pay. So my life was good, like I was saying. So I went back into the world, I did what I had to do, and then things started to get, after that whole, you know, backyard experience. That sounds weird, but that's not why, you know what I mean, you know, the demon coming in my mouth thing. I went back into the world, and there was this one time, my final time, when I was a Hennessy girl. They wanted us to do a promotion in this particular place, and I was real hesitant to go because I could feel the changes going on in my body already. Like my taste was just different. I didn't want to be in that environment anymore. And mind you, eventually I got fired from doing promotions, and I'm like, but I've not done anything. It's just the Lord shaping you, pulling you and pushing you to where He wants you to go. So anyways, when I went to that promotion, I went hella reluctantly, like I said, at this point in time, because like I said, after a while I started to like lose taste for certain things. So when I went in to do this promotion, it was like I went into like I don't want to call it VIP area, but the area the DJs are. So the DJs are like up here, right? And the crowd is down here. So there's a big old white space. I don't want to call the area, the location, or whatever that I did the promotion in. So I went up there with my drink in my hand, just like whatever, you know, drink a drink. Can't wait to leave here till my like whatever, how much hours. I think it was just like 3-4 hours are up. And when I went up on top up there where the DJs are, so I was like drinking and I just like looking down at the people, and then all of a sudden every single, no, not every single, majority of the persons who I was like looking at in the crowd that was just in this circle, this big old area, like dancing, all their eyes were glowing, right? And I'm like, what is this? Like I started to like blink like really really hard, like what, like, you know, and I like open up my eyes, because you know in the movies like when you do so and you look back, you know, things are gone, things are different. I look back again and everybody's eyes were still glowing, and I was like, what is this? So I like quickly got down and I went to the side of the big old circle where everybody was dancing whatever, and I was like, Lord, I don't know what this is, but let me just hurry up and leave. I wanted to leave but I couldn't leave because my time wasn't up. So yeah, a lot more happened, and I hope you guys I don't want to say enjoyed but understood most of what I was saying. I will try not to edit this so that it will be as raw as possible, and I will see you guys in my next video. All right, stay tuned because clearly we have another video coming up to continue this. All right, so see you guys in my next video. I will be chatting with you while you guys are watching this, so keep abreast, and I love you. From Barbados to you with love. Bye guys!
Don't forget to hit that circle button to subscribe to my channel, and here are 2 more of my videos. See you soon!